Well, coming off 2 wins at home, now 3 more on the road, all against GLIAC opponents, all against teams that you've seen. Kind of the message to the team with this road trip, before you guys prepare for the GLIAC tournament.
Yeah, fun thing about having a tiny conference is that you get to know every team pretty well. And a lot of our conference has returning players as their best players, so it's all people we've seen a lot. But this second time around, I think it's really crucial that we're better prepared than we were last time. I think that last time going into playing these two teams that were going down to Grand Rapids to play, obviously Grand Valley's risen a little bit. They're now number I think 8 in the country instead of 9 when we played them. They're one of the best teams in the country, and I think we had been practicing at a level of intensity that didn't set us up well to perform at all against Grand Valley. I think that was pretty much a complete failure of coaching preparation. But I'm hopeful that this time around we can at least have them ready for the level of intensity they need to have on defense, because I think that I kind of set them up for failure. Even though we did have a big third quarter in that game and were able to keep it close for a little bit, I think that we just weren't ready for what was coming just because we hadn't faced that level of intensity since we played Maryville at home. And that also was something where we really struggled with pace. So we're seeing what we can do this week, just having our top kids go against our top kids, see if we can kind of build confidence, build intensity there. But and then playing at Davenport is always a hard place. They always have a uniquely windy setting there. So being able to come in there and handle elements that you don't get when you play inside for 3 games in a row is going to be important. But also they have a lot of talent that's shorter than our defenders. So that's also always a unique challenge is how do you defend people that aren't a good height match for your team. And when we really struggled against that with some teams earlier this year, so that's been something especially our young defenders have had to overcome. But I think it's all about what our defense can do this weekend. I think our offense is doing a great job throughout the season, carrying us. Obviously, 21 goals is a lot of goals that happened this weekend. So if they're able to perform, it's just about how can we stop the other team from scoring as much. You can't win a game if you allow 17, 18 goals. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Coach, I talked to you this weekend against Concordia St. Paul about how you were happy that your defense responded when you called on them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Davenport and Grand Valley, both playing at their place, defense has to be coming from the first quarter all the way to the fourth quarter.
For sure, that's something we've struggled with. We struggled with defense being ready from the start, and we're really lucky that we have a really strong group of defenders that really trusts me and really has worked well to do really specific things for each team we're playing. So I love our defenders. I think they do a great job. I think that when they're properly prepared, they can overcome any sort of puzzle that they're given to solve. It's just about can we give them the correct tools to solve the puzzle, and I don't think we did that last time. So and in Concordia St. Paul, it was just a little bit of, I think the emotion got to us, so we started a little slow in that game and just weren't playing at our best. So they needed something pulled out of them, and luckily I was able to do that. And this is going to be another weekend. They're going to need to start with that thing pulled out of them. So we're hoping that we can just drive intensity into everyone this week so that they can be ready, because they've done a really good job this year. All of our defenders that are a lot of people that used to play in the midfield that have made this sacrifice, play defense every rep. And so I just want to make sure that I'm preparing them the best so that they're not having to solve problems on the field that we weren't prepared for.
And then, Coach, just touching on your offense here briefly, Minnie Battelle getting close to reaching 300 career points. Josie Lukowski has had a breakout game, scoring her career high in goals. Really, you've had 4 or 5 girls all year that have been able to put the ball in the net. Is that kind of an advantage to say, hey, our main concentration could be defense because we know our offense is going to bring it?
For sure. I think that was a huge grace that we had this year, is that we knew we had Minnie coming back, and we knew if you need to score, Minnie can score. And then we also, Lane Stanton coming in as a transfer and Josie as a freshman, I knew both of those two would be different levels of scorers that would be able to play off of Minnie and have a lot of success. And then Caitlin's always been able to find her goals, play in her way. And so those 4 as our top scorers have always kind of whatever defense we have going against us have been able to be fairly productive. There's been a couple games this year in our two significant losses especially where they weren't that productive, and that's what really costs us. If we can't have those four consistently scoring, then life gets a little hard. But they've been able to really do that, and I think this year especially because Minnie has these three other options, her stats and assists is way higher than normal, and she's really able to play off of those three, and they're created a pretty fun four-headed attack system, which is pretty cool. Because I'm sure a lot of our conference and region thought that our offense was just going to be Minnie this year because everyone's very, very aware of Minnie. So I think that it's been helpful as she gets treated a little differently by other people's defense that we have some other options.
And then, Coach, last one, when you move from playing 3 games inside to playing 3 games outside, what are the kind of the challenges that come with that? The wind factor, ball flight, things like that.
Yeah, so I mean, lacrosse has a solid rubber ball, so at least ball flight's not going to change really. But I mean, we're pretty spoiled here. Our hands don't get cold, and you play with metal sticks, so that can always be a big factor. If you have rain or you have wind, it's an adjustment to be able to, no matter how tough our team is, and I do think they're tough. They go to school in Northern Michigan, but ultimately every day they practice in perfect weather. So how can you overcome it feeling a little bit different with your stick skills and with your touch? So that's always a hard thing. Our shooting is always a little bit rough, especially in the practice, right when we first practice outside. But I mean, also it's going to be mid to end of April, so we're probably going to have a little bit better weather than we did say when we went to Ohio. So I don't think it's going to be that much to overcome. But also there's always the thought of our dome turf is very unique, and so when you do play on real field turf, the ball rolls slower, everybody runs a little slower, where everybody really flies on the dome turf. So that's always an adjustment for people to come here, but it also means it's an adjustment for us to go places. It just changes the way you chase and predict when the ball's on the ground, especially with draw controls. But I mean, we have a pretty good record outside this year, so I'm looking forward to that. I think we're ready for it, and I think this year in particular we have a group that can really rise up and isn't as affected by the elements, which is cool.